Ballpark beef. We're bringing the beef outside of the recording, and you better believe we're going to bring it in the recording. Just going to talk about baseball and football, and that's what we do every week. So just run the music and let's fucking go.
Yeah, we back. Listen. We had some beef outside of the podcast, and we're going to continue that beef because I know you guys want some beef in your life. Pause. But back with my co-host. Back with my co-hosts, as always, Jimmy and Nick, my best friends. And we're going to talk some baseball and some fantasy football. Our teams have been obviously playing because baseball is basically half the year. And we just had our Dynasty draft, so we're going to do a little draft grades. Hopefully the guys went over draft grades in their head. I'm assuming Nick didn't. He probably doesn't even know who Jimmy drafted. But that's fine because he has time right now to look it up. And let's, boys, how's
knows me so well.
How's your week been? How you doing? Did you miss me?
I mean, we saw you over the weekend.
Yeah, but you could miss me.
It doesn't take 2 days to miss you. You need a little bit more than that.
Wow, that hurts. Okay. I miss you guys, so.
But nah, it was good, bro. The boys got together. We met a couple people in the league that we haven't met before. It was a very successful weekend.
Successful. Very successful.
Yeah, I felt like I got things done.
Yeah, dude. Lots of moves, lots of good conversations and talking strategy. Great weekend, obviously. Seeing the boys, great weekend. I'm a little attacked. I just got to bring it up.
Jimmy's feeling attacked right now.
I'm just feeling a little attacked.
Guys, just so you guys know, this is the soft side of Jimmy.
It's the soft side, and he's got to understand that, like, we're throwing it out there, not as like beef. It was our conversation pre-podcast. It was a conversation we had, and it was thrown out there, not like in a beefy way, right? Just more like, I tried and I failed a little bit. So that's how we're throwing it out. I'm not trying to go into the conversation because it's not something we want to talk about with you guys. But I mean, he feels attacked, but he shouldn't. It's just like we were just kind of like laughing about it. But that's Jimmy. So
all I'm going to say is, what is a man if not for his word? Doesn't have his word. What is he? He's a schmuck.
I
made a promise and didn't want to pressure you, and here we are. We're gonna speak in vague terms, I guess, because that's what you want, and there we are. So anyway,
yeah. All right, let's get into the baseball side of things because listen, we're gonna settle this beef off air. It's probably gonna last like 30 minutes. Jimmy may lose some sleep about it, but that's just how Jimmy is. I'm the same way. We overthink things. So that'll happen. We'll be fine. And that's it. But anyways, let's get into some baseball. I'll start off because I never really start off. The Yankees have been playing well. They're 7-3 in their last 10, 27-15. They are beating the Twins right now 5-1. And a lot of guys have been hitting very well. Volpe, Soto, Judge is finally back. We knew it was a matter of time before that happened. And guys are starting to come around. It's really good to see. And Dominguez just started his rehab assignment. It's going to be interesting what they do with him. I don't think there's really a spot for him right now. And I think it'd be really stupid to just bring him up as a bench player. You want him at AAA to continue his development. So unfortunately, Dominguez will probably be in AAA and unless someone gets hurt, which I pray to God not. And, I would love to see the Martian, but I think for him, it's best he gets everyday at bats, continues development. And then as far as Garrett Cole, he threw a bullpen the other day. So he's looking good. He should be back in about a month, hopefully. Rotation's looking good. Bullpen's looking good. The Yankees look good all around. No complaints. So on to the next team. I'm done with my Yankee talk.
It was a Nick style amount of talking. Pretty good.
Might as well go from best to worst.
Oh, that's the Mets. Let me jump right in there. This week we sucked. Yeah, so we lost. No, we won against the Cardinals. So we beat the Cardinals in that series. Last game got postponed, and then we went to Citi Field to absolutely get smoked by Atlanta. Took the third game by the skin of our teeth, and then lost to the best team in baseball. Go figure. The Philadelphia Phillies. Pretty interesting. We're playing a 4-game split series. 2 games in Citi Field, 2 games in Philly. So that's pretty cool. Lost 0-4 today. Aaron Nola took a perfect game into the 6th. Mets offense is it's like the shifting between the core group of players playing well and then the role players playing well. And it just seems to not be clicking altogether. It's one or the other. No, it's Pete Alonso's playing better now. He's out of his slump. Francisco Lindor is now slumping again. Starling Marte is not hitting very much. JD Martinez, not much as far as, well, he's turned around a little bit, I guess. But Nimmo played hero with the walk-off homer. Brett Beatty is 0 for his last whatever. Harrison Bader hitting 154 his last 7 games. So it's tough right now. We have Mark Vientos getting the call. He's coming back up. I think they're going to split time at third with Beatty. And I think, well, actually, no, probably not. Joey Wendell's not going to get DFA'd because he's back. He's the backup shortstop. So need a backup shortstop on the roster. I don't know what the corresponding move is, but I don't know. The Mets are just kind of playing 500 ball. And as long as they can escape June at 500, I'm telling you, it can be like 90 and what is that, 72 by the end of the season. We can get to 90 wins.
I would say for the Mets, this last week isn't as bad as the record looks. You just played Atlanta and Philly, and every single game they pretty much only scored 4 runs. So, I mean, the pitching is definitely giving the Mets a chance to win ball games. It's just the offense is off to a month-and-a-half slow start.
Speaking about pitching, let's talk about Edwin Diaz. Is Edwin Diaz cooked from his injury? I'm gonna just ask that question straight up, just at face value. I'm gonna get your opinions, and I'm gonna tell you my answer.
Yes, he's cooked.
Cooked, period.
Not cooked, period. It's either he's going to take a little time to ramp up, or he's just. You got to remember, Edwin Diaz was like good for he was terrible when he came to the Mets, right? He was terrible at first, and then he had that lights out season. He got some Cy Young votes. He got
paid, and I'm a chill.
He got paid, and then he had that injury, and I mean, it could be him ramping up, or he might actually be fucking cooked. Who knows?
Nick, what do you think?
He got paid and now he's chilling.
Oh, so he's coasting is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to come back 100% from his injury, but I mean, I would say a common thing in sports is a lot of players, they get paid and then they just they don't have that urgency to win anymore.
Not like he sucks.
I'm not saying he sucks,
humbly,
just saying that's what I think.
Yeah, I'm humbly disagreeing. Edwin Diaz is still elite and he still has some of the best stuff in the game. He's unfortunately running into a little bit of bad luck. At fastball, they got hit for the homer to blow the save. Or the first run in that inning leading to the blown save was like a very inside pitch that probably most people don't hit out of the ballpark. If you look at Edwin Diaz's baseball savant page, it's more red than not. He is walking some and people are barreling the ball against him, but everything else is elite. His expected ERA, batting average against, fastball velo, average exit velocity, he's getting chases, he's getting whiffs, he's striking people out. Like, Edwin Diaz is an absolute menace on the mound, and he isn't cooked. He's not cooked. You just need to stay the course. He's going through a rough patch.
You know who is a menace on the mound? Knicks boy Clay Holmes.
Best closer in baseball.
Because of his 0 ERA.
0 ERA still.
Best closer in baseball. Changed my mind.
Ever, dude. Diaz is.
That's Cap. You know it too.
A Cap.
I think if he didn't get hurt, yeah. But Clay Holmes is the best closer in baseball. All right, on to the shitty Cardinals. This is not going to be long because they absolutely blow cock. They lost 3 series in a row to the White Sox, the Mets, and the Brewers. Won 1 game against the Brewers, won yesterday against the Angels. They are 2-9 and they're 2-7 in the last 9. And I don't really want to talk about stats with this team. I actually want to ask you guys a question because I saw something about this. Is it time for the Cardinals to sell a lot of their players and rebuild?
Yes.
I think it's been time. I think they should have started this last trade deadline.
I think it's the end of an era for the Cardinals where they're going to suck for a couple years until they figure out what the hell they need to do.
Goldschmidt needs to go. Arenado needs to go. They need to move off of, what's his name? Wilson Contreras. They need to move off of all those guys. I think it's time. for a new era in St. Louis. I think this kind of patchwork rotation they tried to put together of Gibson, Michaelis, Lynn, Gray, and Matz is just not it, honestly. And then the team's really not hitting well. I think it just needs to change from top to bottom, honestly. They had years of consistent winning and all this, and that formula is kind of pooping the bed right now. So definitely needs to be some sell-off, get some prospects, become a younger team. Because they have a decent young players. Like Brendan Donovan's solid, Nolan Gorman's solid, Mason Wynn's solid. Like they have some solid guys. It's just the old guys need to go. You know,
Yeah, I think it's time.
while they
for them
still have
to get
some
younger.
kind of value. Because you're not going to get much out of a Goldschmidt. Maybe Arenado to a contender, that works. I mean, many people will take Arenado plus defense. He still has a decent bat. Goldschmidt, he's struggling right now. So I don't know. They got a few things to do, and I think it's going to start this trade deadline, and you're going to see a different Cardinals team next year.
Yeah, it's definitely needed. They've been trying to hold on to these guys for a little too long, and now it's kind of backfiring.
I agree. I think the Sonny Gray contract is pretty interesting too. I was like, oh, he's an obvious person to trade, but they signed him to a 3-year deal. 10 million this year, 25 million next year, and 35 million the third year. So he's got some backloaded contract that's kind of hard to move. So you have to probably package something with him to move him. But yeah, no, this patchwork rotation, aging veterans and young guys who, probably need a fresh refresh,
Yeah,
They to be a St. Louis Cardinal fan.
yeah. It's.
I mean,
It's
listen, it's not fun, obviously, when your team is doing bad, but the Cardinals have been good for so long that if a fan is upset about this happening now, they are like delusional.
Yeah, for sure.
And every team goes through a rebuild. I mean, unfortunately, ours is now, but I mean, we were successful for what, 20 plus years, 15 plus years?
Yeah.
Not going to be
Thanks,
successful
because
every
that
year.
division's super light. That's probably why they thought maybe, oh yeah, put the patchwork rotation together. We only need to win 7 games to win the division.
Yeah,
Very light division.
the division's kind of poopy. But
Speaking of that division, do you know who's a revelation this year? Ex-Japanese pitcher, not named Yoshinobu Yamamoto from the NL Central.
Iminaga.
Dude
Dog.
is stud.
Dog.
Lefty shoving it.
.96 ERA in 8 games.
He's
Nick
pitching.
loves that.
He is pitching so much better than Yamamoto, which I don't think anyone saw coming. When he signed, they're like, oh yeah, he'll just, he'll be decent. I mean, Yamamoto's not playing terrible, but Shoto is shoving.
Just shoving it, man.
Yeah.
Yamamoto's actually came into his own a little bit.
Yeah, he's not pitching terrible. He's pitching above average.
I mean, the whole Cubs starting rotation is just on something this year. I mean, you take Kyle Hendricks out, and their ERA combined between 5 people is like 2.5.
Yeah,
max.
And
a lot of them have a lot of Ks per 9, and not one person averages 90 or more pitches per start.
Wow, that was some stat breakdown right there. That was nice.
Yeah, so I mean, the Cubs are doing some good stuff in Chicago. I mean, the 24-18. I could see them ousting Milwaukee and winning this division this year.
I could definitely see
Milwaukee's record.
24-17.
A little two-headed beast at the top.
I think Milwaukee. I think the Cubs can win that division. I don't see why not. I'm
not going to be happy with either team winning, but I'm going to be real. I think it's the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not your year, bro. Maybe next year, maybe the year after.
Still going to watch my team. Still going to yell at them when they suck, and yeah, that's just what life of a St. Louis fan is right now.
And that's on period, right, Pooh?
Okay.
Call him Pooh.
Yeah. Man, but all right, let's get into some Dynasty football. So, if you guys didn't know, we had our draft our freaking draft, dude. It was an awesome night. We had some live trades. We actually had a few live trades. We had a few live trades. We had some interesting picks. Our mock draft was completely different than we expected it to go. There's some surprises, but we're kind of going to do a little draft grade for each of our teams. So, Nick will do a draft grade for me and Jimmy, and then for himself, kind of like that. But I'll start us off because it'll give Nick a little more time to look into it. So I'm going to start with the guy.
I'm going to let you know right now, I'm not going in depth in every player.
I hope you do. I'm going to start with the guy who controlled the first round, Mr. Timothy Hamilton over here. Nick had a awesome draft. Very good draft. To start the day off, he traded for Tua Tagovailoa. He traded his 112 and another pick for Tua, which is great because Tua's, easily a top 10 fantasy quarterback. And then he went and drafted Malik Neighbors at the 103. Asshole.
Shocker pick.
Shocker pick. Very shocker pick. And then he took Jaden Daniels and JJ McCarthy. So he's got his quarterback room right there. And then he also did a 3-way trade to shore up his RB spot and traded for James Cook, which was a solid pickup. So in all, I would give Nick an A. I think that's deserving of an A. He got Neighbors, who can be a top 10 wide receiver this year. He's going to get his target share because who the fuck else is Daniel Jones throwing the ball to? Jaden Daniels, we'll see. JJ McCarthy, we'll see. But if they work out, regardless, they're starting quarterbacks at NFL, and you know how valuable those are in Superflex. And then he's got Tua and James Cook. So he got a starting wide receiver, a starting running back, and 3 starting quarterbacks. That's a very good draft night. That is well-deserving of an A.
I also got Jerome Ford.
And he got Jerome Ford.
Yes. That was in the Tua trade. I think that Nick's best move was not any of his draft picks. I think it was getting Tua. And you only had to give up your 4th best draft asset. Put that in perspective. You didn't have to give up any of your top draft picks. You gave up your 4th best one, and you got a starting quarterback that's solid, that you don't have to worry about. You plug and play. You could make a bet on one of your 2 rookies being decent this year and put him in as your second super flex quarterback. So you shoring up the quarterback room with Tua was the best move of your draft.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, me with trades, when it comes to football, I'm like hesitant because I don't want to, make the wrong move. But I felt like making that trade with Tua and then going with Neighbors 3rd made me not have a decision on which quarterback I think is going to be better. It just, whatever one Jonathan didn't take or the other 2 that I was going to take.
Yeah, no, it was a very good draft. And once you made that trade for Tua, me and Jimmy were like, that was the best move he made. We were talking about it before you came. So very good. Proud of you. Very proud of you. That was very good. Let's go into Jimmy's draft. So Jimmy didn't have as many picks as Nick. No one had as many picks as Nick.
Wait, hold on. Before we go into Jimmy's, can I get Jimmy's letter grade?
Jimmy's going to go when it's his turn.
Oh.
A.
Yeah.
I thought we were just going to, you determine each person's draft.
No, because you guys are going to do some analysis too. Come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I already analyzed Nick's, though. I just told you what the best move was.
Yeah.
I'll talk some more if you want. Sure. Sure, dude.
Yeah, a little bit. But Jimmy didn't have as many picks. He had 1 first, and I think he had a 3rd, right?
2/3.
4.
2/3. Okay. So Jimmy had the 107 and 2/3. So when the 107 worked out in his favor, he got Roma Dunes, second best wide receiver in the draft. And then he took Audric Esteem and Roman Wilson. Yes, Roman Wilson in the 3rd round. So he got RB depth and wide receiver depth. And he also made a trade for Jaden Reed that was involved in the 3-way trade with Nick and someone else. So I would give Jimmy's draft, based on the value, because getting a Dunes at 107 is kind of crazy. You would expect him to go higher. I would probably give Jimmy's draft I'll give it a B+. Nothing crazy, but he got value and he got, difference makers draft day. I think a B+ is a solid grade for Jimmy.
That's fair.
And then for me, so I was active, and Nick really got me upset with the Neighbors pick because I was really sold on taking Neighbors at 104. But I think once he made that Tua trade, I should have realized he's probably going Neighbors, and then whatever quarterbacks are left, that's what he'll go with. But I took Drake May. I believe in Drake May, so I took him at 104. And then I traded back into the first. I traded Kyron Williams for the 108, and I also got Keenan Allen in that deal. In that deal, I got Jonathan Brooks at 108. So I got Jonathan Brooks and Keenan Allen for Kyron Williams, which I thought was a great trade for me. Got a younger running back. You know how long running backs last. And then in the second round, I had 2 seconds. I got Jalen Polk. So I have the stack with Drake May. I think Jalen Polk's going to be good. And then I got A.D. Mitchell in the second round, which is crazy because I think he has first round talent. I think there's first round value on A.D. Mitchell. So I really liked my draft. The whole draft is going to depend on if Drake May's good or not. So that's all I'm banking on. I would also give myself an A minus. But that is my draft analysis. So whoever wants to go next, it's on you.
All right, it's me. So Nick, your draft, just like Jonathan said, the highlight was getting, Tua there. I think that's, a fantastic pick. I was surprised that you actually went Malik there in 103, just because I thought maybe you'd want your choice of a quarterback and then, take whatever wide receiver fell to you, whether, Jonathan took the other quarterback or, and then Malik Neighbors fell to you, or, taking Odunze in one of those 5-6 picks there. So I thought that was interesting, but you did get a difference maker in the wide receiver room of a pretty bleak wide receiver room, at the Giants. The Giants team has like nobody as far as receivers. So hopefully he's the guy, and hopefully he works out for you. Trade with me was fantastic because I got rid of James Cook. You needed James Cook, and I got a talented wide receiver from the person in the third person in that trade. Plug and play in my flex. That's what I was looking for in this draft. And I also don't have to put any, stock in Odunze right away. I can let him sit on the bench and let him, mature and work with Caleb Williams a little bit. I don't need to plug him into the lineup day one. So this isn't my draft. This is Nick's draft. You also, so you got rid of your 112. And where else did you pick, Nick?
So that was it. I got rid of my 203. I got rid of my 112.
Okay.
So in the trade for Tua, I got rid of my third round pick, my first round pick at the 112, and I got rid of next year's first.
That completes the trade for Ford and Tua.
Yes, and the next year third.
Yeah, so going from 0 starting quarterbacks, because your only quarterback on your roster was Sam Howell, to 3 starting quarterbacks, a running back room with 2 starters, and an addition on offense in the wide receiver room, you killed it. A+. I'll give you a full perfect grade.
Wow, my first A+ in my life.
You handled that well. I questioned 103, but you have a full quarterback room. Jonathan, your one trade that confused me was your reach for Jonathan Brooks. I think you took him a little early, but I think you had wind of him going, shortly thereafter, so you probably wanted to scoop him up.
Yeah, he was. Sorry to cut you off. He was going within the next pick, so I had to get in there.
Yeah, so I know you needed to get in there. Kyron was definitely a sell high candidate, but I don't know. I'm the type that holds on to picks and holds on to players for some reason. I don't necessarily sell because they're sell high candidates. So Kyron could have been a good running back for you. I don't know. Is Jonathan Brooks going to start? Who's on his team? What do we got here? We got Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, and that's about it. Rashad Penny as well in that running back room. So it's crowded, but hopefully Jonathan Brooks, being the best running back in the class, rises to the top. Your pick of Drake May made the most sense to me. Pick the best player there. You needed a quarterback. Jalen Polk for the stack. Smart. A.D. Mitchell, great get in the second round. Did you have another pick in there?
That was it.
No, I had your third. Yeah, really solid. Jonathan Brooks just dings you a little bit. I'll give you the A as well, but not the A+. I just don't think that the running back class was strong enough to trade into the first round like that.
Copy. No, I get you. But my thing was I got Keenan Allen for the year. He's a plug and play flex, yes, he's aging, but he also was wide receiver 8 and he missed 5 games last year. So like, I just think he's in a great situation. He'll be a reception monster for Caleb. So that's kind of where I saw that upside. But no, I think it was definitely a reach, but he was going within those next picks. And I wanted to move off of Kyron just because the Rams spent a 3rd-round pick on Blake Corum. And Blake Corum's a very good rusher. So I was just worried about how that backfield's going to work out. And I think it was time for me to get as much value as I could. I got a 4-year younger running back, and I got Keenan Allen. Yeah, he may be here for another year or two, but that's how I viewed it.
Could be a deadline flip, just like me with what's his name? Oh shit,
Stephon Diggs.
Diggs, yeah. It's like I moved Diggs and I stood firm. I was like, 1st-round talent. I want 1st-round pick, and I got it. So hopefully that works out for you too, if you need it. My draft. Ideal situation, I was looking for a wide receiver, but I also kept saying there's 7 good players in this draft, and I'm taking the 7th one that's left. There's those 4 quarterbacks and those 3 wide receivers at the top of the draft constantly in every mock draft. So whoever was available at 7 was the one I was taking. Rome Odunze fell to me. I think that's a great pick. I think he's going to take a year to mature into that offense just because of how many veterans are in there. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, just like Jonathan said. So I think Odunze will mature into that offense and become the guy after Keenan Allen's off the books next year. After DJ Moore, maybe DJ Moore signs an extension. Maybe he's the guy, but Odunze is going to be a great number 2. Very excited for him. I had 2/3 other than the trade. I think I got really good value there. Roman Wilson, very light wide receiver room in Pittsburgh. I think Roman Wilson's going to be a really good player. And then I think I got really good value at the running back position in Audric Estime. He's going to start at some point over Javonte Williams in Denver. And there's not much on offense as far as the quarterback room goes in Denver. So I think ground and pound with Estime and Javonte Williams, he's going to be starting in my lineups, I think, by the time midseason rolls around. So excited for his potential in the 3rd round value as well. Picked up another rookie tight end, just stashing him, Eric All. And I made that trade for what's his name? For Jaden Reed. So Jaden Reed's my wide receiver right now. Given my picks, I think I got the best value I could of my picks. It's not a sexy draft, so I think a B+.
I like it.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna go over every person's like draft like you guys did in depth because we kind of got the idea of what people picked. I'll do myself first again. Like you said, I was hesitant about the Tua trade, but I mean, like you guys said, it's a top 10 quarterback who I don't have to worry about. So I was very happy that the guy was willing to just let me give out my 112. I would have been a little bit more hesitant if I gave up the early round picks. And with me doing that, the reason that I didn't have an answer about 1-3 to you guys is because I just couldn't decide on which quarterback I wanted to take. So I figured Neighbors was the best choice there, and whichever 2 fell to me, it wouldn't be like a hard decision. Like you said, there's 7 best players in the draft. Neighbors being the 2nd best wide receiver, he was only right to take at 3, and then I would just take the 2 quarterbacks. The trade with Cook, I thought it was good. A couple people said it wasn't. I got rid of my 203. Most likely I was going to go with Trey Benson there, but I figured let me just go with Cook. He's a 24-year-old running back in Buffalo, kind of by himself there. So that, and then, yeah, I got rid of my other picks. And I think my team is very upgraded. It's a lot more filled than one of the dog shit trades I got throughout the week. I think my team is definitely competitive now. The one thing I will say is I know Sam Howell got traded to Seattle, but he's behind Geno Smith, and Geno Smith's getting old. So Sam Howell might turn out to be something in Seattle. And if that's the case, assuming my rookie quarterbacks are pretty good, now I'm looking at four quarterbacks that I can make moves with. So for me, I was pretty happy with that. So I would give myself an A+ as well, especially for it being my first rookie draft, not really knowing much about these players, doing some research and watching the draft and everything. So Jonathan, you took Drake May, the trade. I was actually really happy about this trade with Jonathan. I talked to him before he proposed it to Matt. He was trying to get me to get rid of my 106 for Kyron, and I wasn't really that high on Kyron. I think he had an amazing year, but he was a very high, sell high player. And I just didn't think giving up the 106 for him was the right move. And like you said, the running back rookie draft was very light after Brooks, and he's 4 years younger. I think Jonathan did the right thing with this. I was actually very surprised Matt took it, knowing that he wanted a quarterback. Drake May, definitely a good choice. He was the one that I had more than like half with. I would say 51% that I wanted to go if I went with one. So for Jonathan's, oh no, and then he did the Polk and the Mitchell, which I thought doubling up in New England and picking Mitchell in an offense who I think is going to be very good for the next few years was smart. So with Jonathan's draft, I would also give him, I think you said a B plus, Jimmy. I would also give him a B plus. And then Jimmy, like Jonathan said, get in Odunze at 7. Definitely wouldn't expect him to fall there if it's a one quarterback league. So that value is great. It was a pleasure making the trade with Cook and Reed and the second round pick that we did live there. That was very fun to do, and I was happy that we all agreed on that. Taking Wilson at the 304, I think is good. Like you said, they're very thin on the wide receiver depth. So that one I was very happy about. I'm not 100% sure if I can agree with you with, was it S-Time starting over Javonte, but Javonte also hasn't proven himself to be anything yet. So I'm not mad at that, but I mean, at that point, you kind of just like filling spots in. So for you, I would give you a B.
Fair. I think
What do you-
I think Estime is a sleeper of this draft. Just
Now,
I'm
you want to
at
know my
310.
sleeper? My
You
sleeper
even let me
that.
finish my thought, bro.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go.
No, it's over.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, I think Estime is a sleeper of this draft, and I really do. Like, isn't Oogie Williams or Javonte Williams, whatever his name is, coming off an injury? So his likelihood of being super effective when he comes back is not very high. So I think Estime is a really, really big sleeper in this draft.
You want to know who my sleeper running back was? He's Ray Davis, who went to Buffalo. Keep an eye on that guy.
Ray Davis.
Ray Davis out of Kentucky, out of Buffalo. Keep an eye out. But yeah, I mean, I would say the most interesting pick of the draft was. What would you guys say is the most interesting pick of the first round? I think it was Nick's pick, Malik Neighbors at 103. I think that was the most surprising. Like, I for sure thought it was Drake May 103. Like, I would have put money on it that it was Drake May at 103.
I think it was a shocker pick until I made that trade with Tua.
See, but I don't. I still thought you would go. So you would have had your pick of quarterbacks. That's why I thought you would have went Drake May, and then whoever I picked, you would have dealt with that afterwards. That was the most shocking of the draft for me. And then, like, my least favorite pick was probably Matt taking Bo Nix in the first round. But Matt is very quarterback needy, so I guess that's worked out for him.
Yeah, I would say. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong team. So yeah, I definitely would say my pick was the shocker of the first round and the draft. The shocking one, I would have to agree with you with Bo Nix. I know Matt was looking for a quarterback. I just don't think that was the time to take a quarterback at 8. My guess is he's not really sold on Justin Fields, even going to a new team. But yeah, I mean, I would say Bo Nix at 108, the 5th best quarterback, was a little shocker to me.
I think. Oh, Spencer Rattler went right after me. Okay, I think at 206, Michael Penix going was pretty interesting. I don't know. There was mock drafts that I did a couple months ago before the draft where I was like, okay, I have a real good chance to get one of these quarterbacks. 7 picks, 5 good quarterbacks, 2 really good wide receivers. I'm getting one of those quarterbacks, no doubt. But Penix came out of the question after he got drafted by Atlanta, where what's his name is. I'm so bad with names today. Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, brother.
Just so bad with names. So I was like, yeah, like good, like quarterback. And then I did more mock drafts this time around. I'm like, oh, there's a chance I end up with like one of these wide receivers. It's like I don't know. I think you should always draft quarterback, even if you're at a surplus, because they're just so valuable in this league, especially with people just like fiending over like 3, 4 first round picks for like elite level quarterbacks. You kind of have to invest in them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like Josh Allen, 4 first round picks is the ask. Like, that's crazy. It's just so expensive. But yeah, that I think that quarterback pick, there was actually, and then there was like 2 more picks of quarterback after Michael Penix too, which is pretty insane. I don't even know who Jordan Travis is.
Neither do I.
So,
Me either, but he's on a team that's going to need a quarterback.
what round?
308.
71 overall.
Are we surprised that the Jet fan picked him up?
No.
Good point. Good point. 2 more quarterbacks in that room. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Spencer Rattler in the what is this, the 304 position, thinking about him. I don't know, just take a flyer. But I don't know. Derek Carr signed a pretty big contract, so I stayed away, just like I stayed away from Penix.
Now, Jimmy, we know that you didn't tell us which player you really were eyeing at 107, but who did you think was going to fall to you there?
Yeah, like who did you want?
I was wanting like JJ McCarthy, but then his stock went up. I was okay with Jaden Daniels. I was kind of convinced that I would get JD, just because. How did I have this going? Had the first 2 obviously being the way they were, and then Drake May, and then Neighbors.
Think you had me and Jonathan switched, which would have made me take Odunze at 6.
Exactly. And if that was the case, then I was getting either JJ or Jaden Daniels, and I was fine with that. But I saw JJ's stock go up, so I'm like, no way, somebody will take him. And then I was like, I'll take Jaden Daniels. I know he's injury prone or has the propensity for taking really big hits in college, but I was content with taking him at 7. But then Odunze fell, and I was like, well, I'm sticking to my plan. 7th best player is coming to me.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Jonathan was so keen on trading Kyron. Who'd you want at 106 if you were to sneak that pick away from Nick?
I was going to go. This is how I wanted it to work out. I was going to go Neighbors at 4 and then take the quarterback at 6. That's what I was going to do if it worked out.
So take whatever of the 4 quarterbacks that were left.
Yeah, exactly.
So you would have taken. No,
I would,
all right, Neighbors. Nick wouldn't have ended up with a wide receiver, though.
No, so here's my question, right? So you say that was your plan, right? And then you saw me take Neighbors at 3. You took May at 4, and you still offered that trade.
Because I was like, I need a receiver.
So
Matt said he was getting rid of Keenan Allen. I didn't want to spend too much on a receiver. So I figured, why not get a young running back and then get Keenan Allen?
No. What I'm saying is, you saw me take Neighbors at 3, you took May at 4, and then you still offered me Kyron for my 106. So who would you take at that 106 if I said yes, no in the first 5 picks? You still take a quarterback, or you go with Dunze?
I was going to go
Goes to
Dunze.
Doomsday. Yeah, so then that means that JD falls to me.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Which I was fine with. You can always add a quarterback to a quarterback room.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's why. So I'm like, so my team right now is 2 players over, and like I don't think I'm dropping Sam Howell because I think he still has potential. I mean, I was looking at his stats. Even though Washington didn't win many games, fantasy wise, he put up 300 points, which is, I would say, a pretty good flex quarterback. So say Geno Smith falls off the face of the earth and is terrible. Sam Howell comes in. Now he's their quarterback. I feel like I can get some value for, a flex quarterback.
You've got a lot of running backs.
Yeah, I have to decide which ones I don't want.
You could probably be okay losing a wide receiver and a running back.
Yeah, so I think for me, I'm leaning towards Herbert and Pierce, but I'm trying to see if I can get like value for anyone else. I was offered a trade earlier in the week or over the weekend, and it was a 2026 third for Christian Kirk, and I kind of felt a little disrespected. So, I mean, I have all the way until September to make my decision and see if other people offer something better.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
I'll
definitely be one of those people.
I feel like from where my team was at the end of last year to where it is now is 3 steps forward.
Night and day.
Dude, you filled out a roster.
Night and day. But you know what? We got to wrap this thing up, guys. You know?
Okay, so before we wrap it up, I just want to say Knicks are going to see Boston in the finals.
Fellow Knicks fan. There you go.
It's a
But
big
Fine by me.
thank you guys for listening. We appreciate y'all. Hope you enjoyed our episode for today. We'll be back next week. Don't you worry. And guess what? We left the beef on the table.